If that were Mariah doing that, the whole house would have been leading a crusade for her to leave. And I'm going to need for y'all to keep that same energy for Summer, which I know y'all ain't. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host, Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Summer House Martha's Vineyard, Season 2, Episode 6. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. I want y'all to see the special privilege that Summer gets this episode. And I've been pointing it out on purpose in all of my reviews, how Summer put her hands on Bria. And nobody bat an eyelash about it. Nobody brought it up. There was no house meeting. There was not even a flashback to show her doing this, right? And low-key, I even forgot that she did it until I rewatched last season. And then I did remember, I'm like, oh, she really put hands on Bria. So to see the difference in treatment, even in this episode, that she is getting, all the grace and all the opportunity she's getting to be aggressive and violent. And yes, I am using those words. Because if she looked, dressed, acted, carried herself like Mariah, she would be labeled those things. I mean, they really treated Mariah like she was an ex-con or something walking in the door. Not saying an ex-con deserves that treatment, but you know what I mean. Like, they treated her like she really was walking in the house like Debo. When that's Summer that acts like that. But we're going to get to it. So at the beginning of this episode, we do get a little bit more of Summer's backstory. We find out that her grandmother just had surgery. She shared that her mother struggled with addiction, so therefore her grandmother stepped in and adopted and raised her entire life. Her father was not present. Later on in the episode, we see that she told the group that she reached out to the man that she thought was her father, and he told her that there's no possible way that he's her father. Her mother did admit that she had a one-night stand and she could not remember the name of the man. I do feel for her in that instance, because that is a very tragic thing to deal with, and it seems like she still has not come to terms with that. I've seen this a lot on TikTok. I would say try doing an ancestry DNA test, because a lot of people have found long lost family members that way. So maybe you could, find that side of your family, find your father, find the answers that way. Basically, Summer feels like she's taking on a lot of her friends' issues, but she's not willing to tell them hers. And so I feel like she's bottling up a lot and she lashes out as a result. She really doesn't feel safe to open up to others because of her abandonment issues, and also she was raised by emotionally unavailable adults to teach her how to communicate. They also made her feelings feel like a burden, so that is another reason why she keeps it all in. And I can attest, being raised by older people, they definitely do that. They weren't raised to express their feelings. They were raised to just keep everything bottled up and keep moving. And I think a lot of them struggle with certain things too, but it would just come out in anger. It would come out in different ways. I can relate to Summer. Even with her saying that little piece, I could totally relate to her. But what I want her to realize is her lashing out on Mad Day and being a mean girl and having that mean girl mentality. When people tell you things in confidence and you throw it back in their face when you're mad, how can you build a friendship with somebody and they don't feel safe with you and you don't feel safe with them in order to be vulnerable with them and tell them your issues? So that's a place where you need to mature. For you to be in your 30s, it's time to learn how to regulate your emotions better. And what's even sadder to me is every single one of these women in this house are dealing with something deep, and we've seen that. They've expressed it in confessionals, but they don't have enough sisterhood. They don't have enough care and empathy for one another to be able to be open and so you can share things with each other. Because how do I know you're not going to throw it back in my face? How do I know you're not going to ice me out tomorrow? A lot of these people are very selfish and can't see from anyone else's perspective. And so that is the main roadblock between them being able to relate to one another and actually give each other a shoulder to lean on when they need it. So all the significant others are coming. So this is a couples weekend. Preston is preparing for his cocktail party. While he's in the kitchen preparing things, he's talking with Amir, and he actually brings up the fact that it really must be hard for Jasmine to be pregnant and Silas be deployed. And this is the first time I've actually seen anybody actually really express concern for Jasmine. I hope that he had this conversation with her, not just about her, because once again, she needs that support. Thankfully, she does have Mariah coming. Even though she's not going to be staying in the house, she'll have someone there that she knows for a fact is her friend. So then we have Simon pull up. He is wearing these flamenco pajamas. At first, I'm like, you know how rich people, they be wearing stuff that looks regular, but really it's like $15,000. But when Nick was clowning him and Noelle was like, oh, you got on pajamas, I was like, well, maybe it's not. I'm glad I'm not the only one that was thinking that. Like, you know how people wear Hawaiian shirts on vacation? He had a 2-piece Hawaiian t-shirt combo on. So him and Bria finally see each other for the first time in a month. And they're doing a confessional together. And she was like, yeah, we haven't seen each other in a month and we barely talk. And he's like, because you ignore me all the time. And it was funny. At first, she was trying to talk over him like, oh, wait, no. She was so caught off guard. Like, oh, you really putting our business out there? He was like, you ignore me all the time. You always say, oh, I don't have time to talk, or I'll call you tomorrow. And I'm like, Simon, she do you so dirty. Like, he must really love her. He sees something we don't see in Bria. Because so then we finally meet Donald. They have been together for 3 years and they are now moving in together. And Preston said that he is very nervous about it. And then I saw on Twitter like a couple of weeks ago, they recently got engaged. So they are very serious. So when everybody's outside mingling, Bria brings up the fact that Phil is in town and asks Preston if he could come to his event. Simon was like, yeah, I like his jokes and I need some losa. And everybody's like, what? He's like, losa. He meant laughter, but I had to rewind it a couple of times. Like, what? He was like, look, I won't invite him, but if you want to, I have no problem with that. He feels like it's whatever at this point. There's no beef. So then we have Amir picking up his girlfriend, Natalie. This will be the group's first time meeting Natalie, except for Summer. She met her at a party, and he's telling Natalie on the ride there that Summer is very touchy-feely, and I'm just like, oh, you was calling Nick handsy, but was that really projection? Because Summer was very handsy this episode for her to be calling somebody else out. I guess Amir called himself warning her that Summer is handsy, and is she really handsy with you? I've never seen her be all over Amir like that. I've never seen anybody be all on Amir like that, to be honest. And we'll get more into that later because it's a little delusion going on. Natalie was like, yeah, I could tell when I met her at the party and she did not like the fact that she was handsy. She already had a little stank energy even before coming to the house. He was like, yeah, I have your back first and foremost. And Summer is giving her impression of Natalie, saying, yeah, she was being real standoffish when I met her. He wanted Jordan, not me, so you ain't got no reason to be tripping off me. So then we have Bria getting on FaceTime to tell Phil that he could come to Preston's event. Go ahead and tell Mariah y'all can come together. He was like, well, I'm sitting right next to her, and basically flipped the phone and showed that Mariah was sitting right next to him during the whole conversation. Bria being fake, oh, hey, hello, how are you? How are you not mad at Phil for wanting to bring Mariah around, but you mad at Jasmine for wanting to? And then you're also hypocritical because you want to bring Phil around knowing that that will bother other people in the house, but you don't care nothing about how they feel about it. Then Amir's girlfriend finally makes it there. Summer and Jordan, they're in there, being little gossipy girls. And Summer said, for a split second, I thought it was you out there. he brings her in. He's introducing her to everyone. At some point, she's in the bedroom and Jordan's walking out and Amir happens to catch her and like, oh, my girlfriend's in the room if you want to meet her. And she just straight up ignores whatever he just said and says, oh, is Noelle downstairs? And just takes off like... She is so rude. But like I said, he's very delusional because he said, well, my girlfriend knows that at some point every single woman has expressed interest in me. Y'all refresh my memory. When has anybody expressed interest in Amir? Not even Jordan. You wanted Jordan, but the feeling was never mutual. So I'm trying to figure out, where did you tell your girlfriend that? Because you lied. Why does she feel that way? There's no proof of it. And girl, if you're going to be worried about anybody, you need to be worried about Andy Cohen. Because every time I see Andy around Amir, he is drooling and flirting. So that's the one you need to be worried about. You sitting up here worried about the wrong people. So anyway, nobody was really impressed with her entrance and pretty much left before they even really got a chance to speak to her. Everybody's heading to the party. Poor Shanice is still struggling with these crutches. Why is she trying to wear heels? On some crutches, barely can make it down the steps. So we see Preston setting everything up for his party. He's looking really cute. I love his jacket. I thought that was cute. But when Simon came in, he said he looked like Milli Vanilli. And I was... Simon, keep it cute because you be wearing a lot of Gap fashions yourself, honey. Don't play now. At the party is when everybody pretty much meets Natalie. Shanice said that they look cute together because they're both the same height. 5'4". I knew Amir was short, but is he actually 5'4", or were they trying to clown him? Jordan finally met her, and it was all very oh, hey, oh, we're both wearing brown. We're both on the same page. Oh. I mean, but Jordan has no reason to be nasty towards her, so I get it, but it's... So then we have Mariah and Phil pull up together. They've been the topic of conversation. Shoot, they've been everybody's storyline now that I think about it. They have been everybody's storyline. They might as well show up and get a check. Mariah walking in looking bad. I did not realize the proportions, okay? You better work. Bria claims to be so unbothered now that she's in your face. But you sure had a lot to say before she got here. You started all this hoopla. You've been talking all behind this girl back. Talking about how you was so uncomfortable, how you didn't want her around. Screaming all up in everybody's face about it. Starting all this drama for absolutely no reason. But then when you see her, oh, hi. That's what really annoys me about this group. But I will say, Bria looked really pretty in her confessionals. Whoever did your hair and makeup for your confessionals this episode, keep them. Because you looked amazing. I had to give it to her. I'm like, okay, she looking good in these confessionals. Mariah approached Bria and really she just wants to date it once and for all. And she said that she reached out to her numerous times. Bria said that out of her own mouth. You said in an interview you was okay with her before this season even started. So where is all the animosity coming from? I cannot wait until this reunion because I want her to be called out on that. Pretty much Mariah was apologizing and saying that she did not know that it was Amir that actually put the dog clothes in the laundry, and she blew up because she's allergic to dog hair. For whatever reason, she felt like Bria did that intentionally, and when she confronted her, she never said she didn't do it. And from the text messages we're going to discuss in a minute between her and Amir, she didn't even know until it was discussed on the show that it actually was Amir. So it really could have all been avoided had he just stood up and took responsibility for his own actions. And now Bria is like, oh, I'm a forgiving person when people aren't genuine. Now you want to be a forgiving person. Woo. And then Mariah, once again, she was a bigger person and approached Amir to speak. First of all, Amir should have been the one approaching her and being apologetic, if you ask me. So she did privately, in a text message, ask him to make a public apology because none of that would have went down had he stood up and said it was me that put the dog clothes in there. And he is all indignant in his confessional saying, I'm not going to apologize for something that was an accident. And he doesn't feel like he owes her an apology because they all voted her out because she put her hands on Bria. Even he admitted out of his own mouth after Mariah was kicked out that your actions caused a house fight. For that reason alone, you should be apologizing. And it's very cowardly and disrespectful and nasty. And it needs to be checked at the reunion. I hope somebody stand up and corrects him for that. And you treat Mariah like that, and then we turn around and see your girlfriend treating you like the hell. Like she's so much better than you. Very condescending the way she speaks on you. I'm guessing he just got into real estate. She's like, he sells properties under $1 million. I sell properties $2 million and up. What he does in a year, I do in a month. Like, stunting on him. Her man. This is somebody that she's supposed to be in love with. And later on in the episode, she said that she brought him in on her team. So if that's what you're doing, if you want to help him elevate in life, why are you dunking on him in front of everybody? Why did she say that unprovoked? Her tone was very condescending and rude. You wouldn't think she was talking about her man. Like, I would never put my man out there like that. And it kind of showed that she really don't care for him like that. Or she might just be the non-black woman of his dreams and he's willing to put up with it because he don't think he can do better. That's what it sounded like. So then we have Phil, and he pulled Preston to the side first, gave him a gift, I guess being apologetic. And then he pulled Nick, Amir, and Alex to the side. Jordan saw that he was making his rounds and she refused to even make contact with him. She said that he slid in his DMs like, are you still mad at me? And she basically said she never want to talk to the man ever again. Y'all know how she is. I can't be mad because the way he came at her was kind of crazy. But Jordan is like that anyway. Nick says in his confessional, they've only been in the same space one time. I go to the Kentucky Derby, Wimbledon, the US Open, London, Tokyo, Africa. We're not in the same spaces. And I'm just like, okay, Carlton Banks, like you're really being a little elitist. It's kind of giving the same energy y'all be giving Mariah for no reason. But I'm gonna let it slide though, because Phil was really nasty to Nick for absolutely no reason at all. Phil apologizes, but he tries to kind of blame it on alcohol, and they wasn't having it. They weren't gonna let him do that. Amir said, I'm ride or die for my friends. When I see somebody rolling up on them, I'm a roll up. Phil was trying to interject, and he was like, you gotta let me finish at least one sentence. And y'all know Amir will get hyped. That's one thing about Amir that I wouldn't expect from him. I would expect for him to cower to, especially somebody like Phil, but he bucks up. Okay, I was like, don't make the hood come out of Amir. Amir do got a little bit of a hood side. I don't know where it came from. Clearly, he's the only one that can keep Phil in check, because Phil did back down when he said that. The guys really were very nonchalant with Phil. They weren't buying it. Nick was like, it's like you had a whole year to do this book report and you still came unprepared. You didn't even read the book and the presentation was bad. So it's enough from me. Nick cracks me up. So then we have the freak-nik party that Jordan is throwing. Her outfit and hair and everything really was giving 90s auntie. So was Mariah, once again giving body yada 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 yada. I feel like they kind of looked the most authentic to the time. Earlier in the episode, Noelle said that her cousin was conceived during freak-nik, and I'm like, how do y'all know that? But like Jasmine said, I'm sure a lot of us were. We just don't know it. Unless they got caught up in that documentary. So then Simon comes down. He has on this curly wig and a snapback. I did not realize how much of a clown Simon was. But I should have remembered, because last time they had like a black tie affair and he jumped in the pool in a full tux. So I forgot. But that man be clowning. He came downstairs looking like Jack Harlow, hopped up on the counter and started twerking. I'm like, Bria, come get your man. Like, neither one of y'all can control yourselves. Y'all just let all of your intrusive thoughts win. Why did that man do that? So Alex, he came down with his fake tats, and it was underwhelming. But then Nick came down, shirtless, just fully tatted up with fake tats, but they kind of look real. And I ain't even gonna lie, it had the Stefan or Kale touch for me. He was exponentially more attractive. And not saying I'm attracted to tattoos, because I'm really not. It was something about the combination of the tattoos, the snapback. He took off his glasses. It kind of worked wonders for him. And I told y'all that in his confessional that he had got a fade, and that kind of made him look a little better. So he has the material. Look, there's nothing wrong with the Carlton Banks preppy look. But every now and then, why don't you give us a little taste of urban chic? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, he had Jordan in the confessional stuttering. Shanice was being wildly inappropriate, by the way. Just saying, hey, daddy, you better lock your door tonight. Being very handsy, her and Summer, very handsy, all on him. Being very disrespectful to his girlfriend, if you ask me. She even brought up his girlfriend. And I'm just like, Nick, you're not gonna stop this or object to it at the very least. But I ain't gonna lie, it was funny when Shanice was like, yeah, he's my type, he tall, tattooed. But then he opened his mouth and I realized that's Nick. So then we see Amir and his standoffish girlfriend upstairs preparing for the party. She's taking a long time and he's waiting for her to get dressed. And she was like, oh, you can go down if you want to. I know you don't want to wait on me. And he's like, I'm trying to be here with you. Then at some point she was like, I don't want to be a part of that. And you don't want to be a part of what? Why did you come? Why did you come? You don't like these people, this condescending attitude. You don't even seem to like Amir. So why are you here? I just don't understand. Like, why come and have a nasty attitude? I never understand people like that. And I love that the show picked up those little things that she was saying and put it in there. Simon was the only white person in the house last season, and you don't see him being all stank and standoffish and not wanting to speak to people and, oh, I don't want to be around that. Why did you come? You can leave and you could take Amir with you, quiet as it's kept. I really do feel like Amir does not belong on this show. Maybe he could be on the regular Summer House or one of the other franchises, but it just doesn't seem like Amir mingles with black people in his everyday life. The way he knows nothing about black culture. And then you're bringing this woman around who doesn't respect the culture. So they have the party, and it was actually a crowd of people there. They had invited some people outside of the core friend group, which was good. They need to do that more and more. And as the party was winding down, how did Summer end up in the hot tub with just Amir and his girlfriend? I would have got up out of there so fast. But everybody else ended up jumping in. They start asking questions about their relationship. Turns out, after only knowing each other 2 months, they moved in together. I'm like, that's a little bit fast. She don't even seem like she like him like that. It's not like it was a whirlwind romance. Does she just like the fact that he's on TV? When they asked what was going to be the next step for them in their relationship, she was like, oh yeah, I brought him on my team and just talked about like career stuff. But he's like, well, I want to get engaged. And he even told her, don't be surprised if I propose to you on this trip. And I'm just like, Shanice was in her confessional like, he needs to slow down. Because you don't even know her like that. I kind of agree, but I also really don't care. So then when they start wanting to play games, of course she had to get up and they had to excuse themselves from the festivities. And so they walk in and they see poor Donald. He is laid out on the couch, baby. Toe up. And I'm just like, where is Preston? Somebody need to come get this man. He don't even know where he is right now. Oh my goodness. Then they start playing Never Have I Ever. And the game hadn't even really started. And for once, Bria wasn't even being combative or nasty or rude. She said something to Summer, but it wasn't nasty. I can't remember exactly what she said. But Summer just took it the wrong way. Once again, causing a scene and storming off. Like, that is her signature move at this point. It's so annoying because it's like, even if you did think Bria said something crazy, do you always have to blow up? Do you always have to go off? Does that always have to be your go-to reaction? Like, grow up. And pretty much everybody was completely exhausted. So she didn't all the way leave, child. She came back and supposedly they squashed it. But she was drunk and on a rampage this night. any and everybody could get it. She's going to make sure she lashes out on everybody so she can get it out in the most negative way possible. So basically, she's walking around looking for a target. Alex. Somebody I feel like she still to this day is not over. Because she came over and picked on him for absolutely no reason. Basically saying, you know, he was washing off his temporary tattoos at the kitchen sink. Why don't you just go to the bathroom and do that? And everybody there was standing there looking at her crazy like, what is your problem? And Alex in his confessional said he liked Summer when she came in curious and kind and sweet and bubbly and fun. I feel like last season, Summer definitely had on her representative. I feel like we're seeing the real Summer this season. I feel like she's a hot mess. And it finally has bubbled up to the surface because she is unable to control her emotions. And side note, I saw this clip of Alex on Watch What Happens Live a couple of weeks ago. Summer was on Watch What Happens Live and basically rating his skills in the bedroom a 5 and really just clowning him and being nasty towards him on that show. Andy asked him the same question, well, what would you rate her? He basically said, I'm not going to rate her, but I will say it's crazy that somebody would say that about me and they were just blowing up my phone with voice notes the night before. Summer, you still ain't over that man to this day? To this day, ma'am, I'm gonna need for you to get it together. Once she gets done going off on Alex, she goes up to the girls' room to terrorize them. She immediately starts going at it with Bria. She got mad at Noelle because Shanice and Noelle, they were playing around with the wig and joking around. And like, I guess she was mad that she wasn't taking the argument between Bria and Summer seriously. Like, girl, I'm sorry, the world do not revolve around you. Like, that didn't make any sense at all. Like, she looked over and just stormed down, got mad because people are not paying attention to you acting a fool. She was completely being a fun police that night. So she stormed out and Noelle is pleading like, no, I didn't mean it. No, Summer, stop. I'm sorry. And Summer's like, no, make your friends, live your life. Being a hater, being mad because Noelle gets along with these people. And she really has ingrained herself in this group very easily. Like, everybody likes Noelle. She's a very likable person. And I feel like Summer is very jealous of that. Bria and Noelle come after her. And Bria said, well, you have a relationship with Jordan and Preston. And I felt left out of that. She was like, well, I promise you it's not great. And she starts crying. And Noelle has the nerve to hold her. I'm just like, y'all definitely enable their behavior. She said that Preston just lost his father. And Jordan is dealing with alopecia. She feels like their issues are very heavy. She sees the lighthearted friendship between Noelle, Shanice, and Bria, and she's jealous. And it's like, girl, you bring the heaviness. You could have been cool with Shanice, but you want to be a mean girl and throw the fact that she is broke right now in her face. You bring the heaviness by throwing shade and being a mean girl and blowing up and crying every 2 seconds. You make being friends with you heavy. Her excuse is she's overwhelmed by life and doesn't know how to vocalize it. The producer asked, well, do you want help from your friends? And she was like, I want help, but then again, I don't because I don't want to be a burden. And it's stupid because that's where your friends are for, to help you get through hard times. Once again, I have to say, even though I do not agree with the majority of her behavior, I identify with that as well. I am the same way. It's so hard for me to express what I'm going through or my hardships with my friend. It's so hard for me to express that to anybody, really. It has to be drug out of me for me to actually say that. And it's because I don't want to be a burden. Even though I know my friends would never hold that against me, it's so hard for me to do it. So I can't relate to that. But what I can't relate to is blowing up because of it. If anything, I withdraw. Like, if I know I'm in a crabby mood and I'm not happy and things are not going right, I'd rather remove myself from the situation so I can go figure it out over here instead of just blowing up on everybody else. And I'm not saying my way is just the most healthy, but her hurt comes out in a very toxic way. They bring Summer back to the room so they can all have a conversation. And she blows up again. And I truly believe Bria was trying to squash it, but she kept trying to push Bria and push Bria. And Bria finally was like, well, I don't feel like you have my back. She's trying to go off on her, and she's like, I don't even want to talk about it with you anymore. Noelle is standing up, trying to rub on Summer's back, trying to console her. And she literally is like, get off of me, and pushed her. And for whatever reason, turned around to Bria and is like, are you happy? I pushed her. Like it was Bria's fault. Like she was showing her allegiance to Bria. Like, look, I'm having your back by pushing Noelle. Like, that girl, she a little off. That didn't make any sense at all. And then she just ran out of the room and said, F you dumb B. And I ain't gonna lie, Noelle was so animated. She was like, Noelle looked like a Disney Channel character reacting to everything that happened in that moment. And then she goes running after Summer, and I'm like, Summer literally just pushed you. Unless you're chasing after her to go fight, let her go. Like, she was being way too accommodating to Summer, way too forgiving, because you're kind of showing her that she can do and say whatever to you, and you're okay with that. And then as Summer is storming out, once again, she shows her violent aggression and hits a box with all her might on the way out. And I feel like Summer needs to be checked. She needs to be reprimanded, because this is getting out of hand. She already drugged Bria across her room and had her kicking and screaming. And y'all just swept that under the rug and act like it never happened. And here we are seeing this same violent, aggressive behavior. Yes, I am using those words. If that were Mariah doing that, the whole house would have been leading a crusade for her to leave. And I'm going to need for y'all to keep that same energy for Summer, which I know y'all ain't. I hope at the very least y'all address it at the reunion. But anyway, you guys, let me know what y'all think down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I would love to hear your opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in my next one. Peace.